We're shifting gears now to another form of violence, which seems to be happening in Canada, which is break and enter violence, and especially one specific case of the Peterborough Kawarthas region of Ontario, where a home invasion occurred and the homeowner defended themselves and now has landed themselves in prison. It's quite shocking. Michelle, can you unpack what happened there and explain the circumstances?
Well, the nuts and bolts of it is this. Somebody came into this man's home. He heard them. He pulled out, well, he did what he had to do to protect himself and his family. Because he doesn't like when somebody breaks in your house, I mean, 90% of the time you assume that they're obviously there just to steal something. They're not there to harm you, but they could still have a weapon, right? And that's really of the concern. Um, and this person decided to defend himself by using a firearm, and as a result, caused serious injury to the person who was breaking entering. So much so this person had to be transported to a major trauma center by helicopter, and as a result, was arrested and charged. And the reason, the justification by the police is that the amount of force he used with the type of misdemeanor that that person did was too great of force, meaning pulling out a firearm and shooting somebody was not appropriate given that this person did not show that he was going to kill them. He just broke into their home.
Okay, so obviously, I'm not a proponent of violence, but if someone's committing an act of violence by violating your property, coming in to steal, and potentially they may engage in violence against you, I think there's a right to defend oneself. So, Mike, like, are people supposed to go through a checklist before they whip out whatever self-defense item they have, like a crossbow, baseball bat is a good one, or in this case, I guess it was a firearm of some sort? Should be people saying, okay, what does he look threatening? Will the judge consider this reasonable? What was he carrying? Okay, let me pick the item I'm going to use to defend myself with. My fist, the bat, what? Is this reasonable, Mike?
It's so complicated because there is a level of common sense that has to be applied to these things. Is this person legitimately a threat to you? And if they're not legitimately a threat, do you have the right to shoot them? You have the right to defend yourself, and you should defend yourself. It's got to be proportional, though, to the risk you're facing. And that's the challenge. And how do you figure that out in the moment? When you see somebody break into your house, how do you judge whether they're just there to steal your laptop, in which case, please, by all means, take it. It's not worth getting into an altercation over, or if they're there to kill your family? It's a
Right.
very complex and challenging issue.
So, Michelle, where does
Um,
the law stand on this? Because from what I understood, that like the police have some discretion whether they want to lay charges or not, and it's really up to them. But then the courts will have some.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed. So I was going to bring up the example. So for instance, because again, it's hard to say because like, how do you know what that risk is? For instance, somebody's whole goal may just be to come into my house and steal stuff, right? But who's to say that as a result, for fear of their own safety or getting caught, right? Because they don't want to be caught, they grab someone's kid as a means of protection, right? Because they say if you do anything, your kid's gonna get hurt. Don't call the cops, and when I'm far away, I'll let your kid go or whatever. And again, so the problem with circumstances like that is that they pile up into something greater because when somebody's panicking, they're capable of doing anything. And we don't even know their mental state because they could be inebriated, they could be under
right.
duress themselves from somebody else. So at the end of the day, I sit there and be like, no, no checklist is necessary. And also, if it was somebody like me, and if they had broken into my house and had two small children and I pulled out a firearm on this person and shot them, I think it would have been a different tune from the police because I think at that point they're like, well, here's a mother protecting her young children.
Right.
Because people somehow look at women somehow less defenseless, more defenseless.
Like, do we have to post signs on the door? Hi, I'm a mother. I have children. I'm packing. Don't enter my home unless I've authorized you.
You
Like,
know what?
I'm not
If
trying to
that
lie. I mean,
happened,
it's just it's to me this is like
if that
absurdistan.
was the case, there would be a lot less break and enterings if people who knew they were breaking people's homes knew that people had firearms and they were allowed to use them to protect themselves. People would think real twice about breaking into someone's house because they'd be like, you know what? It's not worth stealing it because I could lose an arm, I can go blind, I could die. And so at the end of the day, but people know that it's okay. When you were talking about laws, yes, several years ago when Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was there, he made it an issue where no longer can someone defend themselves by using a firearm when they enter your home, or actually in any means to defend yourself using a firearm, which I have to say I'm adamantly against, because I sit there and so what is someone supposed to do? Be a sitting duck? Please come in, please take my
Well,
kids, please use me as bait, anything you need, and I can't defend myself because I'm worried about getting in trouble with the law.
yeah, it's a problem. Okay, we're gonna pick up a new topic and be right back.